What is good, Manchester? You're locked into the Unity Radio Breakfast Show. I'm joined today by Abnormal Sleepz. Abnormal Sleepz, what are you telling me?
Yeah, I'm alright, you know, I'm good, man. Just living, enjoying life, rolling out the end of the year as it goes.
So there's a few singles this year. We've got an album as well. Looking back at 2021 as the year comes to a close, how do you reflect on it? Do you see it as a successful year?
I'd be lying if I said no. It has. I mean, I feel like there was a few things that I did want to do that I didn't get to do this year because the year sort of flown by and there was a lot happening in life, you know. But if you look at what I've achieved musically in terms of like the shows and stuff that I've done, it's definitely been like a successful year.
You were just telling me about main stage at Parklife. That's big.
That's huge. That's huge. That was like a blessing that just sort of fell out of the sky, you know. I'm super, super grateful for it, you know. So that's why I say I'd be lying if I said it wasn't like a successful year. But, you know, how do you measure success? Everyone's...
Well, to be fair, I think a way that you can measure success, so you were also at Manchester International Festival. Mm-hmm. Does that mean that you were also on some of them billboards that are around the city?
Maybe.
Or some of the posters?
There was some posters like maybe, I don't know. It was me and Misha at it on the last day as well, so we closed it out, which was huge again. So
we're going to get onto the album in a bit, but first I want to talk about the track that we just played, the new freestyle, Give Thanks freestyle. What motivated you to drop this freestyle at the end of the year?
I think it was more because, like, with the year, like I said, musically, I did want to sort of, I say release more, but we give him the tape, and ideally there was like there was a lot more I could have give. And coming towards the end of the year, I always get in my head and I'm like, you know what, I want to give him something. I usually say end of the year, don't bother, but literally I did that freestyle probably a week ago. I was just in my studio, vibes in, and it just happened.
Just spontaneous?
Yeah, man, made be writ to it, and I was like, right, we need to give him this before the end of the year. Drop that and the other song, It's Yours, and just give it to the people. And that's literally it. It was just like, regardless of how the year's gone and comparing the negatives and positives, you gotta just give thanks every time. So it's me sort of owning some of my wins and owning my position in music now and in the city, and just saying, look, this is me, this is what I'm doing, and I give thanks in it, and everyone else should do the same. You know
I love that. I love that energy, man.
Yeah, man.
So let's talk about Meditape III, because I just said I think it's one of the best projects to come out of Manchester in 2021, and I stand by that, man.
Love that.
Honestly, so many great tracks on there, some great features as well. Talk to me about the story behind the album. It's a mixtape, isn't it?
Yeah. So it's like a mixtape series, and with this third one, sort of like my baby, because I feel like with the first Meditape, it was like my classic, and then like the second Meditape was like my best project. Like that was the project that sort of transitioned me from like being Sleepz to Abnormal Sleepz in a sense, just as an example. But you know, the quality, everything went up at that point. So I was always a bit shy of doing a third tape because I always felt like I needed to match up to the second one. But with this third one, it was all about finding myself again. I took a couple of years out doing other stuff. Obviously, I dropped Kaleidoscope in between that with North Quarter, Lensman, so shouts to those. And I went through a weird period, but I felt like I needed to get back to the essence of the vibe of Meditape, which was the soulful hip-hop, the vibes, the nonchalant, like, enjoy life and easy listening type stuff, do you know what I mean? Nothing too heavy, but still you can take it in and take it with a pinch of salt and carry on with your day type vibe. So yeah, it was all about getting back to that and building a vibe that people could just easily listen to. It could be played in the summer, winter, whatever, and you know, everyone can take a piece of something from it. It wasn't necessarily like concept based on this time around, but I think the vibes speak for themselves and the story tells itself as well.
I think you're right as well when you said about how you could listen to it any time. I feel like it's just so chilled, so laid back that it can suit really any occasion. So there's a lot of tracks on there that I love, but the one that I relate to the most is because I get slated for doing something. Yeah, there's a certain thing I do, and my family, my friends, they tell me to grow up,
right?
And that is, I have 2 sugars in my cup of tea. Yeah, so when I heard Sugar Fiend, I was like, my guy, he knows. Talk to me about Sugar Fiend, because I love that track.
Sugar Fiend, when I made that, it was around the time I've moved into my new studio, and I think at the time I must have been like like lacking on influence. I'd just done the transition of studios, and I was like, I'm in a new space. It was quite alien. And then, like, that was one of the first tracks I made, getting into there, and it was immediately, like, my baby. It was, like, one of my personal, like, favourites, because it embodied everything that I was about and the type of music that I liked, from making the instrumental to the lyrics. I just knew it was a go. But I tell everyone, and I didn't think anyone would care about it when I made it.
Really?
Yeah, I felt like...
Did you not think it hits?
People would like it, but I thought I knew it hit. To me, I was like, oh my God, I'm flying. What is this I've made? But I thought, I feel like people won't appreciate this, you know. And then I was just like, but obviously, when it finally come out, this is like at least a year after I'd made it. You know what I mean? So it's one of the oldest tunes on the tape. Not the oldest, but it's a special tune, man. And again, it's about that feel-good vibe matched with me and my sweet tooth, and comparing that to, like, my love for music and women and just everything that's sugary and sweet and bright in life. Do you know what I mean? And the sound, like, replicates that. As soon as you hear the intro, the vibes that you get from, like, the top line of the melody, it just immediately wakes you up, brings you up, just makes you, like... I don't know, I can't explain it.
And the video as well, channeling your Katy Perry, got in that California Girls video. I was sort of expecting... Have you seen the video, the California Girls?
Yeah.
Well, I was somehow expecting you to be, like, up on that cloud. Maybe Snoop Dogg would be coming out in a cupcake suit.
Yo, I swear, you know what? If we had the budget, that would have been happening, do you know what I mean? But no, the video, that was another thing that was just amazing to do. Like, we brought all the vibes to life. We created this whole next world where it was all just, like, colours, vibes, lit styling, and like all the costume, everything was just sick. So I got a shout out to the AIM crew, Steve and the gang who filmed that and helped me with that, my cousin Sasha who helped with the styling, and everyone that helped, all the extras and stuff. It was just an amazing shoot, you know.
So we've spoken about the present, we've spoken about the future. Now I want to speak about the past. I want to sort of delve into the Manchester scene all them years ago. I also want to talk to you about, it's the Millennium Powerhouse, isn't it? The youth club. How important has youth clubs been to your progression as an artist?
Oh, so important. So important. Like, really, really important, because one, if you're talking about Powerhouse, like, that's in the middle of the community, you know, and within my side we didn't have many. Well, we did have a few youth clubs, but there weren't many. If you're talking about my side, you had two main ones: Powerhouse, yeah, you've got Hideaway, you've got Adventure Playground. Now that is so, like, people who grew up in my side will know, like, Adventure Playground as well, so important. But things like Powerhouse and the fact that it's still standing, so important for the youth, because it gives them a place to go. It gave us back in the day a place to go and be creative, or go and play basketball, or go and meet with our friends without us having to be on road, because, you know, back then it was pretty deep being out and about, and, you know, everyone would play about and be on the bikes, but it wasn't safe, if we're being real. Like, when we look back on how we grew up, it wasn't safe if you're going to be absolutely true to yourself, you know. So places like Powerhouse, it created, like, opportunities for people to go on trips, and then we had, like, a period where they got rid of all the youth clubs. Obviously Powerhouse stood, things like Hideaway, but there weren't no funding for these places. At the time, I was 16, working in that field of work where I was working for Cultural Fusion. This was a studio that had workshops and worked with kids that were my age, younger and older. And when the funding went, a lot of places like Powerhouse and Cultural Fusion, etc., struggled, and we had that taken away. So there weren't sets anymore. We used to have grime sets and stuff happening at these places. All that got taken away. Coming to now, it's a bit better. We've got a bit more like platforms and places for kids to go. You know, I know that, you know, they've got a studio in Powerhouse now, where, you know, kids can go and be creative and they can make the beats, and they've got, like, mentors and stuff. So you got to think, without that, what would the kids be doing? They'd be on the internet, they'd be on road, they'd be getting caught up in all types of stuff. So it's so important to the community and to our city, you know.
It sounds like a real pillar for the community.
Pillar, absolute pillar.
We were talking about the past, we were talking about your early days rapping. I want to know, what was your first ever rap name? Was it Sleepz? Is it one you look back and you cringe so hard?
Oh God, not many people know this. You know what? Shout outs to Tap D, actually. Shout outs to my guy, because when I first started, this was when I moved out to Levenshulme for a little stint in my life, and I was young, mad young, and I think my first little name, like my name in grime, was like something like Maestro. Yeah. So yeah, it was like Maestro, something Maestro. It's so cringy, but that's what I remember. That was the only other name I had. But then from school, you know, the man them used to call me Sleepy, innit? That's the original, Sleepy. It weren't always Abnormal Sleepz. It was just that because I was DJing and doing artists and everything, you know, the name Sleepy on flyers wasn't very like, you know, oh, we're hiring DJ Sleepy, we're going to stay away, you know what I mean, all of that. So I had to just give it some sort of sauce, and, you know, we had the collective Abnormal Substance, which is me and the man, them shouts out to those, Rome, Piddy, Padder, and I just slapped Abnormal in front of it. And thought, you know, because a lot of people call me Sleepz for short, it's like Abnormal Sleepz is more like a stage name, you know. But then people are like, you're right, Abnormal. I'm like, don't do that. No, it's Sleepz, you know. So
we've delved in. I found out your first ever rap name. Now, you said about you were MCing grime. I want to hear your staple wheel up bar back in the day. What was the wheel up bar that you dropped and you knew it always got a response? It always got people gas.
Yeah. My Cody's from Trinity right now probably laughing. I think my bar, I'm not even going to give you the whole bar, but I used to step out and get me in school, I have my little bottle cap glasses and that. I was that kid that come out in school and no one expect to have bars, but I'd spit and they were like, not bigging myself up or anything, you know. But I had this bar, it was like, SLEEPPY, sleep is going on cold, don't lie.
Come on.
That was the bar though, everyone was like, SLEEP, yes. You know what I mean? But that was the one. That's mad, because I've not even said that in years.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the one.
Must have given you a big hit of nostalgia, that.
Yeah, defo. Massive hit.
Before that last track, we spoke very briefly about Questions. That music video goes off, bro. Do you know what? I had to actually take a double take, because for a second I thought I was watching Interstellar. Talk to me about that video, because I mean, how'd you pull that one off?
It's otherworldly, innit? First off, shout outs to Carl John and Cold Shots Luke, who helped me build that, should I say. My cousin again, Sasha, on the styling, and Black Kane. The video, crazy, innit? So we shot it in like playing like space, and the idea was sort of to create this like other world, like a futuristic world, like utopia type thing. And I think the vibe was, because the sound was quite, I want to say foreign, not like usual typical sound. It was quite gritty, but we needed something to sort of match that edginess, and I think that comes through in the visual, how it's all black and white, and then you got like the weird like computer stuff happening, and then you've got like Tom and himself, like the way he moves and the way like he sort of like composes himself. It's really mad, do you know what I mean? You'd watch him and you can't take your eyes off him.
Yeah, he's got that energy, crazy energy.
Yeah, man.
And the delivery as well when he comes in.
Yeah.
Cold.
Different, that's what I mean. So the video had to match that, and I like, generally with my videos, I like to be outside the box. I don't like to do we got 3 whips and a couple girls behind us and we're just performing to the camera.
Or going on that car park in Manchester.
You know what I mean? Like, that's not me. I've not done any videos like that. I just like to be outside the box, because I grew up on MTV Base watching videos, you know, as a kid, and watching all these crazy videos and the crazy budgets they used to put in. So, you know, it's only right we try and replicate that here, because everyone thinks it's impossible without having a big budget and a massive team, but you can do anything as long as you put, you know what I mean, your mind to it and make it work.
I think it's just a testament to surrounding yourselves with the right people, the right creatives, because the best creative can make something out of nothing. You said what? So it shot just in a white studio?
Yeah, so we used Spectrum Studio. Shout out to my guys there. and they've got like an infinity war like type space, and the idea was to create this space that felt like it was just in the middle of nowhere, which you get, do you know what I mean? With how we're moving, you just see nothing but white background apart from like the extra cutscenes where you got like the scientists working on like some mad stuff, and like you got all the, yeah, it's crazy.
We have Meditape 1, we had Meditape 2, we had Meditape 3. That's the Meditape trilogy. Now, a trilogy is normally a good place to end it, unless we're talking Star Wars. So, is this the final edition of the Meditape series? Is it album mode now?
Like, it's hard to say, because you see, like, the thing with, like, when people talk about albums, like, it applies a different kind of pressure. So everyone assumes all the body of work I do, they just class it as albums anyway, so it's like, whatever. To me, like, with the mixtape trilogy, I don't want to say too much and shut it off, but I feel like that will be the end of the mixtape trilogy. But that doesn't mean to say that the concept and the vibe of Meditape dies with it. It don't necessarily. So, you know, when I do end up doing the album, or what I might consider the album, that might be the Meditape, do you know what I mean? But who knows? I don't want to say too much yet.
Maybe there'll be a reboot in 20 years.
Maybe. Maybe.
So to close off the interview, I'm going to ask you 3 quick fire questions. First of all, what is your biggest achievement?
Ooh. My biggest achievement is being in the position I am now, working for myself, running a studio and doing this full time without having to work a 9 to 5 or to work for anyone. I think my biggest achievement is becoming my own boss in such uncertain times.
Now, what is your biggest regret? And you can't say invested in Bitcoin. Well, not investing in Bitcoin, I mean.
Yeah, that is a big one, to be fair. My biggest regret, I like to say I don't have any regrets. There is a couple, I'm not gonna lie, but my biggest regret,
not many you want to say on radio.
Oh yeah, not many I want to say on radio, you know. I think for the people, I think my biggest regret is not quitting working for the man sooner.
Yes.
Yeah,
I love that.
I wish I'd stepped out into the wild a lot sooner. That's one of my biggest regrets.
The most rewarding thing in this life is doing it yourself.
Yeah, man. DIY.
Facts. And then the final question. And I gave you some time to prepare for this one, because I like to ask all my guests this at the end of interviews. What is the best advice anyone has ever given you?
Right. So I was thinking about it, kind of, because I've had a lot of real good advice in my time. I can't pinpoint one to say it's necessarily the best, but this piece of advice changed my career. So what I would say is, an old friend of mine said, or give me the advice one day, and just said, look, your music's good, right? It's great and everything. You're not talking no crap and but be more truthful to yourself in your music. Be more honest in your music. And this person wasn't necessarily a music person, but they knew me very well. And they were just like, I know what kind of vibe and what you want to give to the world. But in order to achieve that, I feel like you just need to be a bit more truthful to yourself. And honest to God, it weren't like I was lying in my tracks, but I was just being very general about things. And,
yeah, just, you know, the standard sort of rapper.
Yeah, man. Just rapping for rap's sake, loved it. But the minute I broke that barrier of telling people my actual story and what I was going through and about my feelings, when I learned to do that, honestly, it made me who I am today. It made me... I weren't even half the artist that I am today before I started doing that. And that's just me, innit? So the minute I started being truthful to my music, it just changed everything. Literally, it changed everything. The quality of my music and my writing and my connection to music changed as a whole. So I'll never forget that piece of advice, because obviously I owe it to what I'm doing now. So yeah, I'd say that.
Some real words of wisdom from Abnormal Sleepz. And that's, you know, any artists out there that are listening, that are making music, making rap music, or making any kind of music, putting your personal into your music is so important, because ultimately, if you want to build fans, you want to build connections with people.
This is it.
They're going to connect to you if they know you, not if you're rapping about the Mercedes-Benz that you don't have. If you're rapping about your story, what's real to you. But yeah, some real words.